Tonight's John David is exposing his own one of his own structures, because actually this meeting got postponed. It was supposed to be around the 24th of July, and that was Guru Purnima Day. So this is the day when the disciples kind of honor the master. And it had reminded me of a kind of traumatic moment I had with my own spiritual master when I was living in India. And so I was planning a month ago nearly to discuss what you're saying, the fact that we very often are living with strong expectations about how something should be. And in particular, from our experience with our father, our experience with our mother, we project onto people who are some kind of authority. We project onto them these expectations of what we want or what we would like to get from them. And this is often very, very powerful and can be very, very painful. And because it's originally starting from when we're very, very small, and it started in relationship to our parents, very often it's deeply embedded in our system. So many people, I mean, I've been now sharing for, I don't know, maybe 25 years, and I've had many very strong situations where people have come to me because they want to maybe learn something or talk about something, share something. But very often this issue of authority, sort of parental authority, which then gets projected onto the teacher, a teacher, or a boss in the office can be also projected onto the boss. It makes a natural kind of communicating very, very difficult, actually. And probably it wasn't by accident that my second spiritual master was called Papa Ji, Papa. His family, the children in his family used to call him Papa. And then when Western disciples came there, they picked up on this. And although his name was really Punja Ji, Punja, everybody started calling him Papaji. And I mean, I don't think I was really drawn to him because of the name. It was for other reasons I got drawn to him. But inevitably, my own issues with my own father became very much, how can I say, they were very stirred up. And I had several different strong moments where he was able to really stir up inside me very strong currents, which I probably wasn't so aware of. And these come back to wanting daddy to say I'm okay, wanting the authority to say I'm okay, that I'm all right, I'm a good boy, what a nice painting I just did or something, And I wasn't planning to talk about it actually, but as we got on the subject of art, I can expose a kind of horror moment I had with him because I used to paint quite a lot. And so I had probably 40 or 50 paintings. And a good friend of mine encouraged me to frame them, which was very cheap in India, and have an exhibition. So I arranged in Lucknow, not far from where we had satsang, in an art gallery, my exhibition with 40 or 50 of my paintings, all nicely framed. And naturally, I thought naturally, I asked Papaji if he would open my exhibition. So I wrote him a letter, I wrote him a letter. And on the outside of the envelope, I wrote, not for satsang. And I delivered it by hand to his house, right? Making it very clear that this was sort of personal stuff. And, I really wanted him to come come to the exhibition and open the exhibition. Yeah? And of course, what does he do? He takes my letter to satsang in front of 100 people. He starts reading it, but he changes my letter. So where I had said, for example, perhaps you'd like to invite some of your friends, when he read it, he said something like, maybe you'd like to bring some very important people to my exhibition. And I'm sitting in this meeting and I'm trying to kind of dig a hole in the ground and disappear down in this hole because he put so strong a kind of searchlight onto the neediness. You know, I was incredibly needy, but I didn't really know I was so needy, you know, this idea that I must have the master coming to open my exhibition and, you know, he might like to bring all his important friends and so on. I mean, he made me feel so much like a lump of shit. And he didn't come, actually. He didn't come to my exhibition, actually. He went off to see some people. And so what to do, you know, who's going to open the exhibition? So there was two nice ladies who got children who helped me put the exhibition together. So I decided, okay, let the kids do it. The kids can open the exhibition, which involves lighting an oil lamp. So at the appointed time, let's say it was 8 o'clock in the evening or 6 o'clock in the evening, there was a few friends there. And suddenly a big car pulled up outside the gallery and a man came out of the car and the gallery owner told me, he is the principal of the local art college. Very important guy, very important guy. So then, you know, he came walking in, very friendly, very nice. Maybe he was sent by Papaji, I don't know, but it felt a bit like he was sent by Papaji. And naturally, after talking to him, I asked him if he would light the flame, you know, with the kids. So we had this kind of important art teacher, art college teacher, and the kids lighting the exhibition. But it was such an incredible lesson for me, this whole thing, first with my letter in the satsang meeting, and then the way this man just showed up in the right moment. Everything was fine, actually it was better than fine. And somehow it always felt to me like this was all kind of put together by Papaji himself, you know. It was like there was a lesson, very strong lesson for me. But I didn't completely get the lesson. So we had Guru Purnima, maybe it was the same year or a year later, I don't remember. And on Guru Purnima Day, it's common for some kind of ceremony to do with honoring the master. So it was decided that everybody in the Sangha, they would all line up, maybe about 100 people, and we would carry a mala of flowers. So the idea was that when you came into the room where Papaji was sitting, on his left side he had an assistant, and you came in and you put the mala of flowers over Papaji's head, and then you sat down in front of him, and then he took off the flowers and gave them to his assistant, and then he was supposed to look back, and you were sitting on the floor. You looked up, he looked down. You had, you know, 20 seconds of very close and intimate kind of meeting with the master, you know. Anyway, I've been standing in the line, you know, getting a bit excited and probably standing there with a lot of expectations about how this moment was going to be. And instead of looking down, in that moment, he looked up and saw a fly on the ceiling. And I was left looking at nobody. And it was like one of the worst moments of my life. You can't really describe it, but maybe it was a bit like this moment. I was going to talk to you, and then I went and talked to Martin. So his whole attention went to this bloody fly on the ceiling, and he never looked at me, you know? So when you in a line and you see how everybody in front of you gets to look at him and have this moment of eye contact, and then when it's your turn, you don't get that, it's really, really strong. So this was a very, very powerful lesson for me that, you know, if I'm having expectations, which I think we often do towards some authority figure, particularly, then you leave yourself open to actually a lot of pain, lots of pain. So this is not an easy lesson. I was already doing spiritual work for many years by that time. And of course, I had other times when I would be in the vicinity of Papaji, and I wasn't particularly needy. I wasn't particularly wanting something. And then he would come and say hi, you know, in his own way.
Mm. Yeah, I find it yeah, I find it intense and sometimes hard to discriminate also what is this expectation, or what is this wanting, because it feels like in some way I need to want something, like you know, there must be something to get, like it seems very subtle, but yeah. And I remember one interview you had with one of the Papaji people, I think it was Ruth, and she was saying that at one point this feeling of she wanted something from Papaji dropped away, and it was not there anymore. And I don't know, I can't really comprehend that. I can't really understand that, how that would manifest.
Well, of course, when you don't want something, something happens, because something always happens. You know? So I'd been I'd been many years with one master. Then I was again many years with Papaji, and then at some point in the years I was with Papaji, I got an inner message that I should go and film the Indian masters, the famous Indian masters, before they passed away. Well, I didn't do it because I didn't know how to do it. But about 10 years later, destiny took me back to India. And I can't remember now, but somehow I started doing it. I started visiting masters and filming them and asking them certain questions. And it was pretty amazing, because you could say for maybe 15 years or maybe a bit more, I had been going to spiritual masters always in an energy that I wanted something. And now suddenly I was going to these masters with a sort of project with certain questions. I came up with, I think, 12 questions I asked each master. And I didn't want anything from these masters. I mean, I wanted them to give me a good interview. I wanted them to answer the questions. But the basic question was, tell me your teaching. But there was no wanting in it. I didn't want to get something, because at that time I felt very strongly that I already got everything. I felt very much satisfied in myself. So when I went to meet these, some of them quite famous masters, I could sit next to them, in front of them, and have the camera set up. I used to do the camera and ask the questions. So did the whole show, the audio, everything myself. And I sat there for 2 hours with a very close eye contact. And it was so beautiful, because they could immediately know that I didn't really want anything from them. And of course, an Indian spiritual master, his whole life is dealing with all the wanting, because people come wanting blessings for their business, for their daughter's wedding, all kind of stuff. People would come to the master. Not many of them would come really wanting enlightenment. Most people would come with some kind of material kind of wanting. So then this guy came and sat there and didn't really want anything. It was amazing, because I became really like friends with several of these people over several years, over 5 or 8 years, I guess. I was able to take my students when I had the retreat in January and visit these masters, and they would receive me and my students. They would be very available for a day, maybe. We would only spend maybe maximum 1 day in the different ashrams. But it all came out of me not actually wanting anything. So this was a very powerful lesson, kind of, you can say, after I kind of grew up a bit. You know? So Papaji really kind of smashed this issue of authority, you know, wanting the authority to say you're a good boy. And of course, you know, in your family situation, you had a situation where you had a brother and he had certain needs which were more pressing than your own needs. And therefore he got more attention from your parents than you got. And of course, that created inside you some deep need to get something, yeah? To get something. And now I think since you've lived in the community, you've had lots of opportunities to kind of feel that structure. And it seems to me you've been able to see it in such a way that now it doesn't really grab you so much anymore. Is that true? It doesn't get you so much?
Yeah, it's more and more true. And if it comes, you know, in a way as a feeling of need or of hurt or something, then I'm just more and more able to keep it within, and in some way tell that feeling that it's okay. So just to take the position as that parent, I would just, you know, have this just loving attention towards that feeling, and in that moment it transforms into, I don't know, into love or into myself. And that is easier. It's easier and it's beautiful.
Yourself is love, darling.
Yes, and this is the thing, that it's like just this thought, like I am love. It's like, this is basically, in that moment, it's mostly everything that it needs. Just this.
Just love, you see.
Yes.
I mean, this is the funniest thing about human life. You know, many of us are desperately wanting something, yeah. And if it just stops, we get everything. It's like the everything is a given.
Mm.
You know, it's a given. Not only is the air at the right temperature, but our essence is love, and our essence is peace, and our essence is, in fact, everything we could possibly want is actually given. It's a freely given. And as soon as we, you know, forget that, or maybe we have an inner structure which is so strong we can't help to forget sometimes. It just kind of takes us over. The structure takes us over. And then we're lost, and we get swept away. It's like the flood comes, and the flood comes, we're taken away, and we're, you know, thrown in the river, and you know, things get a bit choppy.
Yeah, that's how it happens. Yeah, it's just forgetful. It's just forgetfulness, and yeah.
And of course, this issue of that we're talking about tonight, I mean, this is one of the very big issues for almost everybody, actually, because everybody has a father, everybody has a mother, everybody has a parent, and we are very small, we're not really powerful, and these guys are telling us, you know, go to bed, you know, eat that, do this, do that, don't do that, do this, don't dance, yeah, dance, you know, it's like endlessly needing to follow the parents, yeah. So everybody, I think it's pretty much common that everybody has very strong issues with their parents. And the only thing is whether you're ready to do something about it, whether you're really ready to look. And this is one of the things that really touches me about our community, because the people like you in the community, you're ready to look. And this is very challenging, you can say. Sometimes it can be even painful. But as you can see for yourself in the time you've been in the community, it has a great value.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's really, yeah, the only thing we can do, I guess, just to look what's going on and then to understand it. And I mean, it's such a help that, yeah, that we have in those moments people there around us which are in that moment clear and can help us to, if something strong happens, to go through it, and let it settle. And sometimes it's, I don't know, sometimes things just fall away, and sometimes, yeah, it takes probably something strong to recognize a pattern and then to continuously stay with it and watch it and see through.
So tell me now, we have somebody who has arrived in our community about a week ago. Somebody who has this kind of authority issues very strongly. What advice would you give her? Because at the moment she's in a kind of crisis. Nobody can really talk to her. What would you say to her if she could listen to you?
Just stay. And just stay, because it's the only thing you need to do is to stay and let the strong storm pass. Talk to other people who can help to understand and help to accept the feelings that come with it. And soon it will lighten up, and you'll be able to see through and see through the confusion more. And these kind of storms, they don't last forever. If we allow it, and we have an environment here where this is completely possible, then it passes. Everything passes. And the gift that you can recognize then, which everybody can see also in you, is it will be more visible to you, and more it will just come up like the sun comes out after a storm. It's like that. I mean, it's for everybody here like that. Storms come, and then blissful times come, and then deeper storm comes.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes I see that my life in the community is dealing with the daily storm. I mean, going away for 2 days. Well, I went away for like 2.5 days, I could say. So when I was coming back, I already got a list of the latest dramas that would be there for me when I arrived back. And I mean, I shouldn't perhaps say this, but I mean, these dramas are completely inevitable. And if you take them very, very personally, then of course you get swept away, because you get lost in the mind. And as soon as you're lost in the mind, you're completely helpless. And to be able to see that these storms that come are a kind of fantasy. Yeah. Remember last night I was talking to a young guy, he's probably here somewhere, who had been a twin, and he'd grown up with the idea that his brother was kind of the good one and he was kind of the bad one, or brother was the successful one and he wasn't, and so on and so on. His brother got the girls and he didn't. All kind of judgments that came out of this particular situation of being a twin. And of course, all absolute nonsense, complete and utter nonsense, but he completely believes it. And because he believes it, it affects his life in a very tough way, because it doesn't allow him to be who he is. And probably if we got to hear his brother, we would hear that his brother also has, from his point of view, the same kind of structure with the other brother. Like, oh, he can play the drum and he can do this and he can do that. And I mean, this is the sad madness of our daily life, that we're all running inside these kind of structures, completely believing them to be true, and in a way never being able to get out, never being able to get out of the story. And the story is a story that's been put to us. The story was created when we were little, and we're in this story, and it seems very real. It's just a fantasy. However strong it might be, it's just a fantasy.
Yes, but it's like we don't have a reference to our story, to the story that's going on in our particular mind. So it's like the only reference that we have is emptiness and silence. That's the only reference to tell that the story or the content is just, yeah, like a fantasy. So I mean, the only thing
I'm reminded, you know, I think I was saying last night, I just found this amazing joke book. So I've got these huge volumes of jokes, and I was looking through today, and there was 2 goldfish in a goldfish bowl, you know, and they're talking to each other, and they're saying, well, I think I'll go round one more time, you know. So can you imagine if you're a goldfish and you've lived in a goldfish bowl your whole life, yeah? And your whole life you're going round and round, and then some very helpful person takes you out of the goldfish bowl and puts you in the river. Just imagine what that must be like. So this is somehow the spiritual work, you know. The spiritual work is that somebody gives you the support, and you don't swim around the goldfish bowl anymore, but you swim in the river. And this is, of course, very beautiful, actually, beautiful metaphor.
Mhm.
Okay, so don't get upset now. I'm going to invite somebody else to talk to me. Lakshmi, you're looking pretty good tonight. Where have you gone? I've lost you now. Come back, Lakshmi.
Hi.
Okay.
Everybody.
So you're looking much better than I expected. I was told that you weren't doing so well, but you look very good.
Yeah, thank you. You helped me very much with your email, and this email contact is made me cry because I think there was a pattern to my father.
Right.
Yeah, it was no drama, but and very soft, but I think there was something I love to be. I'm a little bit ashamed about it, but to be invited, you see, to join,
Right.
to join, you see, because
Right.
there's something in my family that I didn't have the feeling I belonged to them. Yeah, and this
Right.
there was a little drama, very little, and now it's all everything okay again. And
Right.
I found my little silence again. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that was easy then. Yeah.
Yeah, it was easy. And
thank you for letting me write to you, you know, because sometimes when I write to people, I never hear from them again, you know.
Really? I was very touched about your email. Thank you. And,
but I mean, basically since January, you've been in a very good open space, yeah? And tonight you seem also good. So, you know, everybody can get into a storm, like Om was saying. You know, you get a sort of storm comes around, a typhoon arrives, and you get swept a bit away.
He explained it very, very good, I think. Yeah, to ride the wave. To ride the wave when the feelings come and try to overwhelm you. You have to ride it and to take it into your heart. Yeah.
Well, I've got another letter to send you, but I have to find the right moment, you know.
Okay.
But one of these days, I hope I'll be able to send you a letter inviting you to come and live in our community.
I see.
We're not quite there. We're not quite got there yet.
I'm so frightened. I'm so frightened. Yeah, I tried to how can I say? I tried to get my personal answer from the how can I say? Just a minute. From the wisdom from God, you see?
Right. Upstairs.
Yeah, from upstairs, but he didn't talk to me until now.
Well, it's because you're not quite ready. You know, you're not quite ready. But
Yeah, I see.
it's coming. It's coming. God's got you on his list. You know, he's got the letter ready, but it's not quite. He can't send it quite now. You know, you have to wait a bit.
Maybe. He knows I'm very much that I'm frightened.
Right.
Yeah. So
Well, you remember your friend Pavati, you know, when she came to the community, she used to keep a bag packed under the bed, you know, so she could make quick getaway.
Yeah.
But I think she was only going to use it once. And after about a half an hour chat, she unpacked it and put it back under the bed.
It's like getting a baby next days. You have a little suitcase under your bed.
Okay, nice to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Somebody else like to, I mean, anybody can volunteer. Can you make me the whole grid of everybody, so I can see who I can invite? I could talk to Rafael, actually. We have somebody new tonight from Spain. Maybe I should have a talk with him. Hello.
Hola.
Hola.
So here's Pedro. He's also sitting in front of one of his latest artworks. You see?
Yeah. My first artwork.
It looks a little bit different style to Martin, but anyway. So could you translate for Rafael?
Yes, I translate.
Yeah. So nice to meet you, Rafael. Where do you live in Spain?
Encantado de conocerte, Rafael. ¿Dónde estás viviendo en España?
Un placer el estar aquí. Muchas gracias por ese gran libro que has escrito, El Gran Malentendido, que lo he leído hace poquito y estoy viviendo actualmente en Sevilla desde el mes de febrero.
It's a pleasure to be here and thank you for your great book, The Great Misunderstanding. I'm living since February in Seville.
Seville, okay. Very famous town.
Sí, es una ciudad muy famosa.
Yeah. And you found the book, The Great Misunderstanding. We translated it into Spanish.
¿Has encontrado el libro El Gran Malentendido, traducido al español?
Lo he encontrado y lo he encontrado perfecto. Por decirlo así, ahora les digo a mis amigos que es el libro.
Yes, I found it and I found it perfectly. I tell to my friends that this is the book.
Okay. Well, we've got two other books after that book. I would say they're probably a little bit more interesting even than that book.
Hay otros dos libros que escribí después de este libro que podría decir que son incluso más interesantes que este.
We've got a book that's called The Pointless Joy of Freedom.
Tenemos un libro que es Pointless Joy of Freedom, que no sé exactamente la traducción al español.
But at the moment, it's not translated into Spanish.
Ya que de momento no está traducido al español.
And then we have another recent book, which is not exactly the same style, but we have a book of interviews I made with what I call remarkable people, meetings with remarkable people, where some of the most famous teachers from the West, I interviewed them about their life. It's also a very nice book.
Y luego tengo otro libro de encuentros con gente, con grandes personas o gente remarcable, en el que incluyo entrevistas con grandes maestros.
And I'll be coming to Spain at the end of August.
Voy a ir a España al final de agosto.
And I think I'm right that you're thinking you might come for some days to be with us in the retreat.
Y creo que has escrito que te gustaría estar algunos días en el retiro.
Efectivamente.
Welcome.
Efectivamente. No puedo ir del día 3 al día 5 porque ya tengo unos compromisos con otras personas. Anteriormente a conocer que teníais el retiro, y iré el día 6 por la tarde, y mi intención es hacer una sesión individual sobre indagación. Comentar que he leído bastante a Ramana Maharshi desde hace ya muchísimos años y Nisargadatta, y sigo la línea Vedanta Advaita.
So I will arrive on 6th of September because I'm busy up to 5th, and I'm interested in self-enquiry.
Okay.
Kind of activity for self-enquiry. I'm reading to Ramana Maharshi and following Advaita Vedanta.
Okay. So we have a very interesting exercise we do together about self-enquiry.
Tenemos un ejercicio muy interesante que hacemos juntos para la autoindagación.
And I'll keep it until you arrive. I'll keep the self-inquiry exercise until he arrives on the Monday the 6th. Normally we would have done it on the 5th, but we'll keep it until you arrive.
Entonces no vamos a esperar hasta que tú vengas para hacer esta actividad. Normalmente lo hago al principio, el primer fin de semana, pero vamos a esperar hasta que tú vengas.
It's my take on Ramana Maharshi, Who Am I?
Y bueno, la actividad trabaja el ¿Quién soy yo? De Ramana Maharshi.
And it's very powerful, and very often people come to their essence.
Es muy potente y muy a menudo las personas llegan a su esencia.
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Can I make a question?
Sure, of course, yeah.
He trabajado mucho el quién soy yo, y hace ya años me di cuenta de que era una pregunta trampa y que realmente no había pregunta, no había un quién, no había un yo, y solamente había un soy. Y me quedé con eso, con el soy. Y aprovecho la oportunidad que me da pues para preguntar.
So I've been working with self-inquiry, with who am I, and it's like this question is a trap because there is no who, there is no I, only I remain only with the being. And then I want to ask.
So I'd like to give you another project.
So ahora te quiero dar un nuevo proyecto.
This is the Zen project.
Es un proyecto Zen.
When you come in September, you can tell me the sound of one hand clapping.
Sí. Cuando vengas en septiembre, puedes decirme el sonido de cuando das palmas solo con una mano.
Lo sé, lo conozco.
I know it.
You know it. Oh, okay, well, very good, very good.
He
Okay, lo
estudiado Zen también.
I have studied Zen as well.
Okay, good, good.
Ah,
Well, we look forward to you coming to the retreat. We'll have a lot of fun together.
Estamos esperando de conocerte en el retiro. Vamos a pasarlo muy bien juntos.
será un
And, a
placer.
lot of the people who are on this meeting tonight, they will be in that retreat.
Muchas de las personas que están esta noche en este encuentro de Zoom estarán en este retiro.
Ujú. Pues será un placer conocerles. Aunque no me interesa la teoría, sino la práctica, que es lo que vosotros dais.
It will be a pleasure to meet you, although I'm not interested in theory, only in practice. That is what you are
Okay,
doing.
so come early on the 6th, or try to come on the night of the 5th.
Ven lo
Try to
antes
arrive on
posible.
Sunday night.
Ven lo antes posible. Si pudieras venir incluso el 5 por la noche.
Muy difícil.
Very
Sí.
difficult.
5 horas de viaje,
Because I have 5 hours driving.
aunque no hay tiempo.
I don't have enough time.
Okay, okay. Anyway, we'll enjoy when we meet you.
De todas maneras, nos disfrutaremos cuando nos conozcamos.
Good, very nice.
Thank you.
How is Angel tonight? We have another regular Spanish guy. Is he here tonight, Angel?
¿Cómo está Ángel esta noche? Tenemos otro asistente regular. ¿Estás, Ángel, por ahí?
Oh, there he is. There he is. How are you going,
Aquí
Angel?
está.
Are you coming to Denia?
¿Cómo te va, Ángel? ¿Vas a venir a Denia?
Sí, sí, sí. Al final sí.
Yes, finally I will be there.
Good, good. What did you do with your boss? Did you have to kill him?
¿Qué hiciste con tu jefe? ¿Tuviste que matarle?
Pedí al ser interior.
I asked to my inner being.
Okay, good, good. Very good. Okay, well, I don't need to talk to you then. But I think I better talk to Rajen. I see him there, and Rajen is down in Spain. He's going to prepare the house for us. How are you going?
Yeah, it's very nice to be in a satsang again. Yeah, usually I only speak with the guests and sometimes with Kasia and Ram. So, so it's just very nice to listen to the conversations, normal conversations again. Yeah.
Right. So this man, he's actually from Norway and he lives in our community. And so he's a great meditator. He's a professional meditator. He can even roll his eyes around. You know, he's really, really good at meditation. And sometime, maybe 2 months ago, I was telling him that he really should stop to meditate. And instead of meditating and closing his eyes, he should jump into the moment. You know, whatever the task is that comes to him, he should be there for it. It's kind of like a new kind of meditation. And then shortly after, I think it was already the next week, we needed somebody to manage the house down in Spain. And he jumped in. It was a kind of intense moment for you, yeah, because your grandmother was just dying in that moment. So I found it very beautiful that you were able to deal with that in a very good way. You got to see her before she died. And then you could come to Spain, jump into this kind of intense situation there. And probably don't have much time for meditation down there.
Yeah, it's true.
So probably it's not very comfortable in a way, yeah? Can you feel that there's a sort of inner pull that, you know, that this familiar, nice, comfortable meditation space is kind of pulling you?
Yeah, it's not comfortable at all. But I feel that very, very quickly I could see this about kind of my spiritual identity and how much I was kind of locking myself into this space for meditation. Yeah, I feel like so. I know, yeah, this kind of spiritual identity somehow it disappears, and it's difficult because it's so much who I am or who I see myself as being. But it's also nice because then when this goes, then it's so much more space, or it's like an opportunity to actually be real or just be myself and not some kind of spiritual person.
Right.
It's not. It's not an easy thing.
And I mean, several times I've sent you messages and asked you something or other, and I mean, I always feel like you've replied really in the best way you could, you know. So it feels like you're really there in the moment of whatever the moment is demanding from you. And managing a very busy guest house is not so easy. Now it's the high season in Spain, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really know how to do it, so but it also makes I don't have so much expectations for myself. So then it's just like seeing how it goes, and somehow it mostly works out. So then that's quite nice. But yeah, it's a bit easier because for me, when I do things that I feel I'm very good at or I should be very good at, then I can easily be too hard on myself, I think. But if it's something more new, then it's easier just to to be open to try and see just what happens.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting to see how these things happen, because just suddenly there was a space which actually is a bit perfect for you, I think.
Yeah, I definitely needed something else, and I knew something else would come, and this is something else at the moment. So.
Right. And how's your Spanish?
Yeah, I also try this, but yeah, it's not really time to practice. So I mean, you practice just by talking to people, so it helps a bit, but it also works out in its own way.
You know that I'm very bad at languages. Yeah, you know I have a kind of bit of a block about languages, and you know, recently, you know, I've left Germany a couple of times, and when I've come back, they weren't so sort of happy to see me as they were when England was part of the common market, you know. So I have to produce some documents, you know, and they put a stamp in my passport now, and then suddenly I don't feel like I'm part of Europe anymore. I'm like this from this silly little country, and I'm, you know, lucky to be let into Germany or something. So I suddenly had the idea yesterday that maybe I should become a German citizen. And this is very funny, you know, because being English, I have inside me, of course, some very strong structures about that. And, you know, if my young John David could hear the old John David considering to become German, it's like kind of sacrilege, you know. So sacrilege. My father's already started turning over in his grave, actually, just the thought of it. But anyway, I thought, well, you know, it might be quite nice, and then I wouldn't have this hassle every time I come to the customs. But of course, in order to become a German citizen, I think one of the requirements is you have to speak German.
Well, the language
so I'm going to see if I can be the first English-speaking German, you know.
Yeah, we have quite a few Dutch guests, so it's quite nice with Kashi here. So they get a nice connection.
All right, good, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're coming
one
to
Swedish family.
You have a Swedish family?
Yeah, we had a Swedish family visiting, so they were the first Scandinavians, so they were also happy to speak Scandinavian with me.
Right. Good. Well, it sounds like it's going quite well. Anyway, we'll be there in a couple of weeks, so 2.5 weeks or something, and of course, looking forward to it. I mean, I think my Indian retreat is somehow the best thing I offer, but the Spanish one is always very powerful and lovely.
Yeah, I think it's part of what we feel being here too, that it's it's exhausting in some way, but it's also such a beautiful place to be, and to be so close to nature, and feeling this connection to beauty, and also offering this to other people who come here as guests.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a beautiful place that in a way it's easy to welcome guests there, because you'd have to be a very funny guest not to appreciate the beauty of the garden and the swimming pool.
Yeah, there are some of these guests who.
Yeah, I remember one year there was, I think it was 4 Spanish teenagers came to stay, and in the morning they produced a matchbox, and in this matchbox they captured some ants, and they were complaining that in their room there was some ants, these kind of monsters in the matchbox. And it was so funny because I guess they'd never left home before or something. I don't know. They never seen an ant. They come from they live on the 10th floor in Madrid or something. They never seen an ant.
Yeah, we had quite a funny story some days ago. This French family came, and it was a double booking somehow. So we were fully booked out, and they had actually booked 1 week here. But now they stayed in the seminar room for 6 days, and they're quite happy. So somehow it worked out. So we exceeded capacity actually.
Yeah, they booked early in the year, didn't they? I mean, they booked about 10 months ago. So, and they never
it was
reconfirmed their booking.
Yeah.
Good.
But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, now they're quite happy. So.
Right. Good. Okay, we'll see you soon. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're gonna stop soon. Anybody else want to say hello, have a dialogue? Who should I talk to? Is Mario? Oh, Mario's still there. Maybe I say hello to Mario. He's from Italy. We don't have many Italians.
Ciao, John.
Hello,
Grazie
Mario.
di tutto, grazie.
Good to see you.
Ciao Mario.
You're my last
Mi fa piacere
Italian
vederti.
student, or my
Tu sei il
first
mio ultimo
Italian student.
studente italiano e anche il mio primo studente italiano.
Grazie di cuore, grazie.
Thank you.
How are things?
È stato molto bello, devo dire, questa sera.
Tonight it was very nice.
Ecco, ho percepito
I felt
Papaji per alcuni minuti,
Papaji for a few minutes
quando si faceva la meditazione.
when we were doing the meditation.
Good. Yeah.
E poi è già da
And then
qualche giorno che sento
a few days
un silenzio interiore.
an inner silence.
He's been in silence for a few days.
He's feeling an inner silence since a few days.
Ah, okay. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Questo va molto bene.
Sì, e sento un cambiamento dentro di me, c'è un cambiamento in atto.
And I'm noticing something changing inside me.
è come una cosa che non so dove mi porterà, ecco.
It's something happening and I don't know where it will lead me.
Okay, maybe you're going to come and join us in Spain. Come for your holiday in Spain in my retreat.
Forse verrai al nostro ritiro in Spagna a trascorrere le vacanze.
Mette un po' male. Aspettiamo te in Italia, se puoi venire, ecco.
We are waiting for you to come to Italy, rather.
Ah, well, I'm ready. I always keep my bag packed for Italy, you know.
Ho sempre la valigia pronta per andare in Italia, lo sai?
Yeah.
Speriamo presto che puoi venire, fare il seminario che hai fatto l'anno scorso, è stato meraviglioso.
We hope that you can come soon to Italy and have a seminar as the one we had last year.
Yeah, in that beautiful church. Yeah, it's such a nice thing that these churches in Italy are available for other kinds of meetings.
In questa bella chiesa, ed è incredibile il fatto che in Italia alcune chiese siano disponibili per questo tipo di incontri.
Yeah, I felt a bit like the Pope that night.
Mi sentivo quasi il Papa quella notte.
E c'era una bellissima energia, proprio bellissima.
And there was a very beautiful energy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Speriamo presto di stare ancora con te.
And we hope to be with you very soon.
Good. No, I definitely can say yes. I'd love to come again to Italy. Yeah.
Direi di sì, vorrei venire ancora in Italia.
Speriamo. Poi guarda, un grazie di cuore a Marco Pace, perché è bravissimo come interprete, è bravissimo.
Translating.
Yeah.
Grazie Marco, grazie.
He's coming to Italy, so he might look you up. He's going to spend his summer holidays in Italy.
Yeah. Sto trascorrendo le mie vacanze in Italia. I'm in Sicily now, though.
Ah, sei in Italia, Marco?
E sono in Sicilia, però.
Ah, bella la Sicilia, è bellissima. Ma abiti...
Where are you going to, Marco?
I'm currently in Sicily.
Oh, you're in Sicily right now?
Yes, in hot Sicily right now.
Oh, you're in Sicily right now. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good,
are you from one of those mafia families?
No, my father didn't belong to any of those families. Unfortunately, perhaps. Who knows?
It's a bit boring to live in Sicily and not be part of one of the mafia families. Come on.
I know.
I had a 2-week holiday in Sicily. It's very lovely there. Very beautiful place.
Beautiful, yes, very nice. Yeah, nice people, nice nature.
And how are your kids? They're there with you?
Yeah, they're doing fine. Yes, they are having fun.
Okay.
They're just getting used to the hot temperature, because today was like 37 with some humidity, so it was a bit tough. But okay, we're surviving.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for translating.
You're welcome.
I think we're going to finish now. So thank you. Thank everybody.
Allora,
very nice
grazie
meeting.
A tutti. È stata una bella riunione.
Grazie.
Ciao Mario.
Grazie, ciao, grazie.
Ciao.
Ciao, grazie. Grazie ancora di tutto.